Greetings everyone, welcome to the DEI Population System Guide. I'm Dresden and I'm going to run through the basics of our system. In our mod we have basically what amounts to a regional population system. Now certain units require that population to be recruited, and each faction has different unit classes that apply. So for example, Rome has these 4 population types, as you can see. And different factions have these different types of populations depending on what kind of faction they are, but usually it's nobles, citizens, freemen, and then foreigners. You can see the region population by mousing over this area right here in each region. Each region's population growth is determined by a number of different factors, which you can see by mousing over the little negative or plus sign that's right here next to the number. These growth levels are determined by things like buildings, public order, culture, taxation, the supply level, and there is a base or overcrowding negative that is there to keep cities from growing exponentially to the point where in the end game they would just be ridiculously large. One of the primary ways to increase the growth of a province is to actually build buildings. So we're going to look at the buildings real quick. You can see under the building effects that it lists what type of population it improves and by how much. One of the easier ways to do this is to go into the building browser by right-clicking on a building. And as you can see the different population levels that are improved right here. Different buildings provide different levels of population to the different types of classes. So, for example, trade buildings might actually add to the foreign class, or temples may add to the noble class. You can go and actually see the total amount that these buildings are adding by going back to the region growth panel. And under that, you will see the building levels and also the other effects. Other things that impact region growth include things like the supply level, public order, the culture level, and in this panel you can actually see the total province population. Now all of these population levels are then referenced when you want to recruit a unit. So when we go into the recruitment tab and you mouse over a unit, you will see that you actually will find out what region you're recruiting the unit from and what population class it uses, and also how much population it's going to use out of that class. Different unit types require different types of population, so a more elite unit may require the 1st or 2nd class, while a levy unit might require the 3rd class. AOR and mercenary units might require a foreigner population. As you can see, when you go into a different region, the population will then be drawn from that region's population pool, and you can see what region, once again, it's being recruited from in the mouse over window. Now, things may seem pretty simple when you stay in your home regions or when you're in your starting locations, but things get a little bit more interesting when you start to expand. Depending on the culture of the province you're expanding into, and also the occupation options you choose, you will receive a certain amount of population when you take a new region. So, for example, this province is mostly Latin culture, so when I expand into the Etruscan area, I will get some of that population back as my population. However, if I was to take a city in a province of a different culture with a different dominant culture than Latin, most of the population would actually be converted into foreign population, and I would have to build up my own population over time. Along with the culture level, the occupation option you choose is also very important. So, for example, here we're going to occupy. When we do that, we'll get most of the people back as our population once again, because the culture matches our culture in this province. However, if we were to choose a different occupation option, say raise or loot, we would actually lose a large portion of the population to that occupation option because obviously we're killing people, raising, looting, destroying things. Alternatively, when you expand into a region that is of a different culture type in that province, for example, here we have a Celtic region that I'm going to expand into. Once I take over this region, most of the population will actually be foreigner type, and I'll have to take time over multiple turns to build up my type of population. Until I'm actually able to build up my population, I won't be able to recruit units of my population class types or replenish units. Replenishment for an entire army requires that every single unit have their population pool available in that region. So if one unit is not able to replenish, the army will not be able to replenish. In order to replenish armies in newly conquered foreign regions, you want to move back into one of your own regions and wait a turn to start replenishment again. That's all for this guide. Thanks for watching, and if you're interested in supporting the mod, please check out our Patreon. If you need more information, please go to our Facebook page or our Total War Center forums.